When most of us picture Greek mythology, we imagine clean white togas, gleaming marble temples, and a Disney demigod singing on a mountain. But the original texts are significantly darker. These stories were not bedtime fairy tales. The ancient Greeks engineered this sprawling history as a survival mechanism. It was their way to process arbitrary death, terrifying plagues, and earthquakes that could swallow entire cities without warning. Over 2,000 years ago, architects of this worldview, like the blind poet Homer, recorded and codified these stories, giving structure to the chaos of the natural world. To truly understand the ancient Greek mind, we have to strip away the shiny armor and the heroic fanfare, and look directly at the bloody, chaotic genesis of their universe. In the absolute beginning, there was no light or structure. There was only chaos, a deep, primordial void. From that emptiness eventually sprang foundational elements like Gaia, the earth, and Uranus, the sky. But Uranus was a cruel father who imprisoned his children deep within the earth. To escape this tyranny, his son, the Titan Cronus, ambushed him. Using an indestructible sickle fashioned by his mother, Cronus sliced off his father's genitals and cast them into the sea. Having seized the throne, Cronus learned of a prophecy warning that his own children would one day overthrow him. His solution was ruthlessly simple. He swallowed every single one of his children whole the moment they were born. Only the youngest child, Zeus, escaped. Hidden away on a remote island until he reached manhood, Zeus returned to slice open his father's stomach, free his siblings, and wage a devastating 10-year war to annihilate the Titans. This sequence sets the foundational rule of Greek mythology. Cosmic order is never surrendered peacefully. It is only achieved through violent generational rebellion. With the Titans locked away in the deepest pits of Tartarus, Zeus and his dysfunctional family instituted a strict new hierarchy. They claimed Mount Olympus, dividing the sky, the seas, and the underworld among themselves. Down on Earth, humanity was little more than an afterthought. Mortals huddled in dark caves, shivering, mindless, and entirely at the mercy of divine politics overhead. That dynamic shifted when the Titan Prometheus decided to intervene. Defying Zeus, Prometheus stole the divine fire of the gods, handing mankind the ultimate tool to forge weapons, cook food, and rise from the darkness. Zeus was enraged by the theft. As a targeted retaliation against mortals, he commissioned the creation of the first woman, Pandora. She was engineered as a beautiful trap, gifted with extreme curiosity and a sealed box she was strictly forbidden to open. The trap worked. The moment Pandora's curiosity won and she cracked the lid, a dark cloud erupted. Greed, disease, endless toil, and old age were permanently unleashed into the mortal environment. In the Greek worldview, progress carries a permanent price tag. The acquisition of technology and the rise of human civilization are inextricably tied to divine punishment and inescapable suffering. Mortals living under the Olympians had to navigate a terrifying reality. The gods demanded absolute worship, and the single greatest crime a human could commit was hubris, showing excessive pride or claiming equality with the divine. Consider Arachne, a mortal woman who boasted her weaving skills surpassed the gods. The goddess Athena responded to this insult by beating her to the ground and permanently transforming her into the first spider. Or take Queen Niobe, who mocked the goddess Leto for only having 2 children, while Niobe had 14. Leto's twins, Apollo and Artemis, retaliated by raining arrows down on the city, slaughtering every single one of Niobe's sons and daughters while she watched. Even outsmarting death carried a horrific toll. When a king named Sisyphus successfully tricked the gods to extend his life, Hades condemned him to roll a massive boulder up a steep hill in the underworld, watching it slip away right at the peak, forever. Surviving this regime meant mortals lived in constant paranoia. To get advice from the gods, they hiked to isolated mountain temples, relying on frantic priestesses who inhaled noxious vapors to scream out cryptic warnings. The Olympians did not act as benevolent protectors. They operated like a cosmic mafia, enforcing their supremacy through psychological torture and extreme physical violence. Eventually, the strict boundary between divine and mortal began to blur. The gods mingled with humans, producing a new generation of demigods and warrior kings who constructed massive fortified citadels across the Mediterranean. These heroes functioned as the ancient world's apex problem solvers. Their primary job was to hunt down and exterminate the terrifying leftover monsters spawned during the primordial era. No figure embodies this era better than Heracles. Driven by a violent temper and unmatched strength, he spent years strangling giant lions, fighting nine-headed hydras, and wrestling monstrous beasts into submission. Through the brutal struggle of these heroes, humanity pushed back the darkness of the old world, carving out the safe havens necessary for society to expand. But the heroic age carried a cruel irony. Absolute power in the universe did not belong to the heroes wielding swords, or even to Zeus hurling lightning bolts. It belonged to the inescapable thread of fate. Look at how this timeline logic operates. A king hears a prophecy of his doom and tries to alter it. He abandons his son, or throws his grandson into the sea. But those precise evasive actions trigger the exact chain of events that guarantee the prophecy comes true. Even Heracles, the strongest man to ever walk the earth, could not punch his way out of his destiny. He wasn't killed in glorious combat against a monster. He was undone by a poisoned robe gifted by his own wife. Physical might was entirely useless against fate. The stone monuments these people left behind still scatter the landscape today. They stand as physical markers of a society that understood exactly how fragile they were in the grand scheme of the cosmos. Greek mythology endures because it perfectly reflects the human condition. We are flawed. We live at the mercy of chaotic forces far larger than ourselves. And yet, we continue to strive for greatness anyway.